Hello, welcome back to our next session. It's 11:45, and for this session, I think to put it into context, all of us have kind of grown up in the last years in a society, in a business world that has been almost solely, influenced by men and only men, and this has led to a mostly male-driven way of thinking business, of keeping particular female qualities out of the decision-making process. And we all know that it's more than about time to change this, to make the tide turn. And we can see it slowly but steadily turning. And our next guest, a dear friend of the Startup Night for years now, will give us insights in how to do this and what is going to happen. And she calls this the feminine economy, and how it proposes a new set of values, sustainable, impact focused, and with redistribution of skills and also money. And definitely with no compromise on the monetization based on feminine qualities. So with her project, WLOUNGE, she acts as a connector, a change maker, a door opener, inspiration, and also enabler for women in business. And let's find out what exactly the feminine economy is, the concept behind it, and how it means possibly a change of paradigms. And with that, directly come to me, please, on the stage, Mali and Baum, founder and CEO. Nice to have you here again, Startup Night. How many years has it been now?
I don't know, 4 at least,
Yeah.
since it was like a huge stage in the Deutsche Telekom headquarters. And
Back in the days.
but actually, thank you so much, because suddenly we see each other in person as well.
Yeah.
Like it was a long year.
It was a long year, yeah? Last year was the last time, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So since then, lots of time have passed, and you've been tirelessly working on changing things in business, and you're tackling a big issue with diversity and female qualities in business. So how and why are you doing it? Like, why you in particular?
I mean, imagine asking someone why he's eating, why I'm doing this, because this is the biggest challenge of our life. As a serial founder, as an investor, as raising a fund, I see definitely in Germany that this is the gap that we have. Eventually, if you dive in the why we do not have enough female investor, as Sebastian mentioned before, and why we do not have enough female founder or unicorns or success stories coming out of our ecosystem like we can, that's the gap.
Yeah. Yeah, and so you're tackling this issue, and do you want to give a short preview on what this talk is going to be about today?
To be very honest, every time someone asking me be on stage, I'm always bringing another colleague. I'm always building a beautiful, interesting panel that it always to give back, And this is all about this conference. It's like be confident, we call it. So how we help the startups and also the founders and also the venture capitals to stay confident. And by the way, also to the corporates. The talk today will be focused on a bit underdog and a bit of observation of 8 years living in Germany, coming from Israel and working in Asia in Silicon Valley and New York. So it's a lot, but on the same time, it's the giving back and how we can take it from here. So we are enough about talking about the problems and to say what we do not have in Berlin or in Germany, ecosystem and what the younger generation wants, but we're about to bring the solutions. So I will share some of the solutions, and I will share some of what we should do together to change it.
Well, then I let you to the stage. Thanks, Mali, for being here again. And all of you guys, enjoy the talk on the feminine economy with Mali and Baum.
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. This is beautiful to be here today, and I'm super happy to use this stage to talk about the feminine economy. Let me please start to say this is not for women only. This is not about women. This is about our tech ecosystem. And this time, maybe for the first time, all startups know that I'm very keen about going global. But this time, I will speak about what are we doing here in Germany and in Berlin to support our startups and ecosystem. So our motto is, of course, giving back. And I know Deutsche Telekom and Hubraum and Startupnight for many years and the people behind, and we are definitely about giving back. So we even have hashtag for it in WLOUNGE. It's called I'm a Magda. I'm a Magda is like I'm capable. So as I started, this is a very important thing for me to say for our listeners. This is not a women talk. A feminine economy is not meant only for women. It's actually stronger for men because I would say still those that moving the needle, which means moving the capital and influencers, most of them are still guys. We believe, or I would say even I believe, but we believe in WLOUNGE, and I believe as Mali, and we believe as a Berliner, as the ecosystem, that the highest level of being a serial entrepreneur, it's eventually to give back the learning and to become an investor, because that's the way you actually save other people, journey and mistakes. I want to ask you a question. I know you cannot answer, and if yes, please do. Show me one woman that raised a company in her life without a meaningful, without the why, without the right storytelling that she can actually bring back to her society, to her kids, to her family, to her village. The idea is that we all know, and definitely the COVID-19 just make it super focused and highlight that as an investor and as a founder, we are very focused on founders-centric. We're really investing and interesting on the quality of the team, the quality of the founder. The definition of female economy, of feminine economy, is the values and the leadership. As I mentioned, all the companies I'm raising, all the companies I raised in my life, also WLOUNGE, also Magda Group, the fund, are they having the same DNA. And the DNA is the value, is the why. So probably all of you saw that before. That's the SDG, that's the icons. The beautiful in the SDG is that suddenly we have, as a startup, as an investor, as an ecosystem, a language that we can share. We can ask the startups, so what are you focused at? What are you bringing? What is the impact of your company? We can actually measure the impact. On top of it, as a leadership, we want to have the same language. We can all speak about leaders and leadership, but we do not know how to define this. And now, everything we talked as impact investment, as founder-centric, the reason the company measure as an impact company became a mainstream. We see it in the European Commission, we see it in the EIC, in the EIC fund, in the EIF. You see corporates starting to talk about sustainability and definitely venture capitals. And this is what I want to share with you today. I want to share with you that actually the feminine economy is about the value. As Fabian said before, it's about the giving back, and it's about the why and how you build the right story for your company. It's the sharing, it's the care, it's the social driven, it's the impact for good, it's the sustainability, it's being honest, it's being co-creator. As you all know, I'm all about partnership and collaboration. It's not about me, me, me. It's about us, us, us together as an ecosystem. And this is what we call it, an economy of values. That's actually the feminine economy. And the beauty of it is that with all of this, focusing on doing good, focusing on making impact, focusing on make people's lives better via technology, you actually can build still $1 billion company. You can still monetize that. You can still raise a startup as a company, as a decent even a business model, and on the same time know that you build a company with a meaning. So the feminine economy is actually existing. I didn't invent anything. You can see it in other markets. You can see it in different ecosystems. The idea is that This one is the new things. It became a must-have for successful business growth. I can tell you in person that every company I'm investing in and we screen for the fund are companies that we ask the why and we ask who are the team to deliver those outcomes. And don't forget, as Fabian mentioned before, it's not instant building phenomenal company, unicorns, successful company out of the Berlin and German ecosystem. It's on top of it. Be very unique and know the why. Share your values while building a phenomenal team and company. So I just wanted to say that it all goes very well together. It's a strong monetization. It's a feminine principle, but it's absolutely for the guys. You know, we're all also fathers. We're all also aunts. We have daughters. We don't want to see them laying back. And it's actually redistribution of skills and money. Go without saying they're sustainable, that we see it a lot in corporates and also venture capital these days. So I want to touch a pain point while talking about this. And one of the pain points that I've seen coming from Tel Aviv, working in the US and Asia, the German market is still lack of enough female founder, unfortunately, and lack of female investor. It's even more, much unfortunate. So what we did is stop blaming the situation or talk about the problem. We actually built a solution. You remember I showed you like the SDG that the UN actually built for discussion, for language, for impact? We build in WLOUNGE with the team, with the venture capitals, with the corporates, with the startups, with all our partner and community. We build a language for leadership. We actually build it as an icons, so it will be very clear. It starts from attitude to execution, to a role model, to no ego, and to really build successful company. So suddenly, we know how to exchange and to merge what it is, our power together as a team, and how we define and measure leadership. This is one of our last cohort. We took the decision that it actually has to be hands-on for German and European ladies, because what we see in the culture, what we see in universities, what we see even in startups, that there's not enough hustler in the market. There is not enough thinking big. Part of you also mentioned before that, you know, we raised the Tech Award Gala, the Oscar, how we call it. It's actually to highlight the people behind the product, the people that make the ecosystem. Those ladies that you see here in the screen, they are from venture capitals, they are from significant corporates, they're also from university. They are here to, first of all, communicate and support each other, and secondly, to become a leader and to understand how they look at themselves in the mirror and they know how to measure their leadership with their team. So, are you a leader? You can go to wlaunch.de and actually download your self-test, because this is what we want to see. And application is open, and I want to welcome you to do it, because this is part of the solution of what we see that we can bring into the German ecosystem to bring the best, I would say, inclusion between the guys and the women, and eventually the outcome will be much more female founder, much more success stories, much more success company, and female investors. So let's build a company, but let's also invest in it. Thank you so much. One word from my side is just recently we took the decision with amazing people in our ecosystem, with amazing guys that's supporting us, is that actually to bring all these topics online. Bringing those topics online, it's not something that it's nice to have. It's something that we have to highlight for a bigger audience. Going global, bringing amazing talents from the inside of the ecosystem and also from the outside of the ecosystem. And one of the things that we've built is a network to build a channel with venture capitals and investors. But on the same time, we build the talk show. And the talk show came to highlight those topics. and to find a solution and to talk about the pain point, but not as victimizing the people or the women inside the ecosystem, but to bring the solution together. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mali.
Thank you so much, Fabian.
Again, we have a couple of questions from the
Yeah,
audience,
please.
and we'd be happy to, if you answer them. So Helena is asking, as it is not only about encouraging women to set up their own businesses, but also about getting more women to work on the investor side.
Yeah.
Do you think that women invest differently than men?
I know that women invest differently than men because they are focusing on what they can bring in as well. It's like far behind, we put the idea of venture capitals as distributing capital. Smart investors, the younger generation of investors, are here to give also to the startup, which means smart founders should go for investors that can give much more than only capital. So this is also coming from the feminine economy. So you should know, as a person, if you step in as an investor, what you can bring to this company on top of only capital.
Are you investing yourself as well?
Yes, of course, and I'm also raising a fund, so it all comes together.
What kind of startups are you investing in?
I think from the discussion that I just brought, you understand that it's very important for me who is the team, how much they would like to grow, how much they would like to go global, how much they're focused on their own values, who are the founders, and on top of it, how can I step in and open the industry and other market for them to grow faster.
And do you think for female investors there are certain topics that are particularly interesting, or doesn't it matter? Do you think it's all
I mean,
over
it's a good question. So, of course, I cannot include everyone, because if someone is coming from the automobility, of course, like naturally, she will go to feel very comfortable there. I would say that the majority are not focusing on one thing, are focusing mainly on the person behind the product and how they can really grow, or they can bring the second round or the third round, or of course, like the market as a business development as well. So for your question, me in person, of course, I'm focused, but I'm focused from the power of the network. If we do have a very strong relationship, like Deutsche Telekom, because we are here today, and Baum, and there are startups that we know that open doors for them, will take them to the next level. This is why we're stepping in.
So if you have founders out there that would be interesting in getting in contact with you, that picking your brain or potentially even pitching their startup, how would they do it?
Yeah, I mean, Fabian, it's happening every day, you know it. And I promised myself, since I built 7 companies in my life, including the fund, is that I will be always as much as accessible as I can. So it's mali@wlounge.de or ping me on LinkedIn, because this is actually my second inbox. So I'm always available and try to be very precise. How can I help?
That's cool. Very,
Thank you
very
so much.
approachable. And I do have one more question for you, because you're not only doing the feminine economy and investing, you're also organizing an event, like an ecosystem event. You call it the Tech Awards. It's some sort of like the Oscars for the software development industry, something like this. Do you want to maybe talk a little bit about it?
Yeah, with pleasure. Thank you so much for mentioning that. And Deutsche Telekom at the first time was a big partner. And I would say, you know, what is event? Event is bringing the right people to the right place. So it's curating the people, curating the audience. If it's a workshop, if it's a program online, or if it's an Oscar. And the idea of the Oscar, that we're actually closing like crazy black tie Waldorf Astoria, is to pick up the key players from the family office, from politicians. All we work together on a different level, venture capitals and startups. And the idea is to select significant categories and to let the startup to apply, and eventually the aim of the Oscar is to highlight the people behind the product. So everything I just mentioned when it comes to the value and the focus, those startups that went back then, the first edition on the stage, look at them today. They're all grown up. They all really get a lot of values out of it. So the second one is coming up in a few months, and the idea is, again, to highlight the topics, to highlight the women, to highlight the ecosystem, And it really comes from the Mittelstand, the family office. It's all together, and thank God we have amazing support. We are definitely, or I'm definitely not doing this alone.
And when is it taking place?
Right now, the idea is end of October, but of course, all the partners knows that it can shift a bit because of COVID, because again, the idea is to bring the right people together and not to do something online, because we want this energy. And everyone that were there last time, the biggest feedback was the introduction and the business that came out of this event.
Great. I wish you so much luck that we can actually
Thank you.
have this event in person. It's always inspiring to have you on stage, feel your
Thank
energy,
you.
feel the power, and feel the passion. So thank you very much for the session on feminine economy with Mali and Baum from WLOUNGE.